Elara awakens in a sterile hospital room, the soft beeping of medical equipment a reminder of her isolation. A doctor stands beside her bed, his face a mask of professional concern. The doctor delivers the news. You've been in an accident. You have amnesia. Elara feels a sense of unease settling over her, a feeling that something is terribly wrong. A few days later, she was released from the hospital. She went straight to her sister's apartment to find solace. Although she knew this place very well, but without her sister, it felt unfamiliar and cold. She walks around to familiarize herself. Suddenly, a cacophony of fragmented memories crashes over her. The screech of tires pierces the silence in her mind. She recalls a dizzying fall into darkness. Julian, her husband's face, keeps appearing before her, cold, distant, unreadable. In the solitude of dimly lit apartment, Elara is consumed by more shadows and memories. The air crackles with the echoes of a past argument as Julian's voice reverberates. "It's not an obsession, Elara. It's progress." Elara's sharp reply was always the same. "Progress? Julian, you're calling it canine lingo serum. It's a monstrous obsession." Elara finds herself adrift in the city's relentless chrome and neon sprawl. The towering buildings and flashing lights amplify her sense of isolation. Lost in the urban labyrinth, Elara's vulnerability becomes palpable. She wanders aimlessly, swallowed by the city's immensity. Each step deepens her feeling of being utterly alone. Elara stands at the accident site, the desolate road stretching before her like a grim reminder. The cliff drops sharply beside her, a testament to the fragility of life. A wave of nausea washes over Elara, her face paling as the memory floods back. Chilling dread grips her heart, the desolate landscape amplifying her sense of isolation and fear. Elara stands in Mr. Corven Grant's modern office. She was invited by the billionaire tech tycoon, an impressive and commanding personality. Corven Grant, a man of piercing gaze, his expression unreadable, adding to the room's charged atmosphere. His voice cuts through the formalities. "I know what happened to you, Elara." His words carry the weight of understanding. "Your husband Julian is a viper. Do you see him around? I bet he didn't visit you at the hospital, and I think you deserve answers." In the tense atmosphere of Corven's office, a large screen shows data on the screen, casting Julian in a sinister light. Corven whispers as he reveals Julian's dangerous game. "Take a look at this. Julian's been playing a dangerous game, and it seems he's not afraid to get his hands dirty." The room is charged with unspoken dread, as his words heavy with implication. "Don't you think it's strange that a new car would have failed brakes and drop off the edge of a road just like that?" The encrypted messages on the monitor glare ominously, underscoring the depth of Julian's deceit. In the dim solitude of the apartment, Elara pores over the documents Corven Grant provided, a web of revelations across her face. The weight of the evidence begins to crush her spirit, the photographs whispering secrets she dreads to acknowledge. A chilling suspicion takes root, twisting her heart as she grapples with the monstrous image of Julian emerging from beneath his normal facade. The truth threatens to shatter her world, each document a piece of the nightmare that will haunt her forever. All the proof pointed towards her husband's deception. The documents forced her to confront a horrifying truth about the man she thought she knew and loved. The city sprawls beneath Corven Grant's penthouse, its lights twinkling like fallen stars. Elara sits across from Corven Grant, the crystal and china gleaming softly in the subdued light. They share a meal, the quiet clinking of silverware punctuating the comfortable silence. He vowed to becoming her confidant and protector. The city's distant hum blends with the murmur of their conversation, weaving a tapestry of trust and affection. Beneath the glare of the studio lights, Elara radiates composed professionalism, a bright light of intellect in her eyes. With carefully chosen words, she subtly casts doubt on her husband's canine lingo serum, the method to enable dogs to communicate. She delivered a detailed analysis, making sure every point landed with ruthless precision. She asked a series of questions that slowly and deliberately picked apart Julian's narrative. A masterclass in subtle manipulation, she guides the narrative, ensuring every doubt lands exactly where she intends. Alara watched from a distance as the investors fled Julian's lab, a place she now saw as little more than a tomb for his ambition. The withdrawal of investors signals the beginning of the end for Julian's once great empire. The lab, once a beacon of innovation, now stands as a symbol of his impending downfall. Alara's distant gaze holds a mixture of triumph and contemplation as she witnesses the empire's decline. Amidst the glowing screens and humming machinery of his lab, Julian races against time. The lab's cold light reveals deep lines of exhaustion onto Julian's desperate face. Driven by desperation, he worked on the equipment, knowing his research was failing and time was running out. With the investors gone, Julian's lab would soon be bankrupt and forced to shut down. From the heights of Corven Grant's penthouse, the city's neon-drenched lights pulsed. A smile of pure satisfaction spread across Alara's face as she raised her glass in a silent toast to her victory. "He's broken. We've won," Alara declares, her voice brimming with satisfaction. Corven Grant stood silently by the window, his gaze fixed on the lights, his mind plotting the final move. Julian's lab is a symphony of disorder, a visual testament to a mind consumed by desperation. The walls whisper tales of financial ruin, each notice a stark reminder of impending doom. Julian stood as a solitary figure in his lab, surrounded by his failing work and massive debts. The air crackles with anticipation and the weight of expectation pressing heavily on Julian as he awaits the buyers of his patent. The team steps into Julian's lab, ready to proceed with the patent transfer of canine lingo serum. Julian stared at Alara, his eyes wide with surprise. With his voice trembling, he said, "I don't understand. You look exactly like my wife. But I buried her myself." His voice cracked, thick with emotion. "She wouldn't have done this to ruin me," Julian said. The lab fell silent. Everyone looks on with mounting tension. The lab pulses with eerie light, its metallic surfaces reflecting the harsh fluorescent glow. The lab air was thick with tension and the sharp scent of chemicals and ozone. Alara's voice cuts through the silence, accusingly. "She knew you cared more about your work than her. I didn't know you would kill for your work." "I'm not dead, Julian. I am Alara." Julian reels back, his face etched with raw disbelief and profound hurt. He shook his head wildly. "No, that's not true. I loved you more than anything. You have to believe me," he spoke in a frantic, desperate rush. "Corven is manipulating you. He's twisting everything. I didn't try to kill you." Julian gestures wildly, his body language conveying the depth of his denial and anguish. In the tense atmosphere, Corven Grant advances, his cold eyes fixed on Julian.A. Corven's hand reached in his pocket. The air crackles with unspoken tension as he demands, "We have heard enough. Sign the data pad. Transfer the patent." Julian meets Corven's intense gaze, the weight of the order heavy in the silent lab. The data pad hovered between them, waiting for Julian to sign away his life's work. Julian's hand shook as he signed the pad, surrendering his life's work to Corven Grant. His voice vibrates with anger, cutting through the tense silence of the room. "Do you know about the car brakes, Alara? I found a problem with them, and I fixed them just days before your accident." His words hang in the air, challenging the accusations leveled against him. The silence stretches, heavy with unspoken doubts and shattered trust. In Julian's lab, Alara is struck by a sudden, searing pain. Alara stared at him, her mind reeling. His words didn't match the memories she had. The conversation stopped. A heavy silence filled the lab. The weight of Julian's revelations crashes down on Alara, shattering her sense of reality. A wave of nausea hit her as the pieces fell into place. She turned to Corven Grant, her voice trembling. "I don't understand. How can this be true?" In the sterile lab, Corven faced Alara, a cold smile spreading across his face, his eyes filled with cold calculation. The stark white reflects the chilling revelation as Corven Grant confesses his dark manipulations. with calculated malice. He admits to tampering with Alara's car twice, his words dripping with venom. He's telling you the truth, Alara. He actually fixed the brakes I tampered with the first time. My people had to cut the lines again. Alara is frozen in the stark white lab, her face a study in disbelief and dawning horror. The sterile walls seem to close in on her, amplifying the shock of betrayal. The weight of deception crashes down, threatening to shatter her world. She feels like a puppet, her strings controlled by Corven's invisible, manipulative hands. The lab spins around her, a dizzying vortex of shattered trust. The canine lingo serum wasn't a product, it was a prototype. Julian saw a way to talk to pets. I saw the first step to a new form of consciousness. Humanity is a chaotic mess of emotion. I will replace it with a single, unified mind. A collective with one voice, one purpose. That's how we'll finally achieve our true potential. The world is fractured, Alara, driven by greed, fear, and petty emotions. I'm simply replacing the chaotic nature of humanity with something better, something with a single purpose. He yelled to his guards, "Take him away and burn down this lab." Alara's face went slack, a mix of shock and disbelief warring in her eyes. A memory of Julian's gentle smile flashed in her mind, a stark contrast to the desperate man standing before her. She recalls the warmth of Julian's hand guiding hers during university days. Corven's accusations had poisoned her perception. Julian's kindness seemed like a clever trick, not a genuine emotion. Corven's men advanced, their faces grim as they grabbed Julian. He struggles against his captors, his efforts rendered futile by their overwhelming force. Beakers and vials clinked on the lab benches as Julian was seized. With mounting desperation, Julian cries out to Alara, "The serum! The serum was for you, Alara!" His voice cracked. "It was for your sister. The canine lingo serum was the first step to curing her dementia." Alara stood alone in Julian's lab, her triumph now a bitter emptiness. Sparks dance and fade, momentarily illuminating Alara's haunted face. The air hangs heavy with the stench of ozone and chemicals, a testament to the price of victory. A moment of stark realization. She has annihilated an innocent soul, unknowingly advancing the true villain's agenda. In the opulent penthouse, Alara confronts Corven Grant, the city lights twinkling behind them. Her voice trembles with fury as she demands, "Why, Corven? Why did you do it?" Corven Grant remains composed, a chilling smile slowly spreading across his face. He dismisses her concerns. "I'm not sure you would understand, Alara. Let's just say I can't allow Julian to play God and give dogs the power to communicate with humans. I had to burn down his lab. The patent is now buried deep within my archives, never to see the light of day again. His work was dangerous and had to be erased," Corven said, his gaze fixed on Alara. "Now, do yourself a favor and forget about him and his research. I never wanted to hurt you. The target was Julian. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong time." She looked at the city lights far below, her world a cold, hard lie. "You manipulated me," she whispered, her voice thick with rage and disbelief. "You used me for your own gain. It had nothing to do with the greater good. The serum, it wasn't just for the dogs," Alara whispered, the words heavy with disbelief. "It was the first step to curing dementia." Alara's awareness of her predicament grows. The weight of Corven's manipulation continued to crush her. She ran from the gleaming penthouse, a woman on fire with a broken heart. The city lights swirl around her, each a silent witness to Elias's hidden sins. Driven by a fierce resolve, she vanishes into the urban labyrinth. A lone figure, Alara is swallowed by the night. Her quest for truth starts today. Ilaras came back to her sister apartment. She frantically searches, driven by a desperate need to remember. A hidden compartment reveals a small, locked box, the key to unlocking her fragmented past. She opened a hidden compartment, and her breath hitched at the sight of a box filled with contacts, a team of hackers who could help her take down Corven Grant. The morning sun filled Julian's lab, its light a cruel contrast to the scorched walls and piles of rubble as Alara navigated through the ruin. Amidst the chaos of overturned furniture and scattered files, a half-burnt document catches Alara's eye. Kneeling carefully, Alara retrieves the fragile document, its faded text whispering secrets of a serum and her sister's name. The document confirms Julian's claims, as Alara pieces together the fragments of a hidden truth within the burnt documents. Pale sunlight filters into the sterile care home, casting long shadows across Alara and her ailing sister. Alara watches her sister, whose eyes are clouded and distant, lost in the labyrinth of dementia. The rhythmic beep of the heart monitor underscores the heavy silence, a stark reminder of time slipping away. A wave of profound sadness washes over Alara as the weight of Julian's sacrifice crashes down on her. Now it's her turn to get back at Corven. The hacker's hideout was a dimly lit maze of shadows, circuit diagrams, and scattered code on every wall. Alara's eyes reflect a blend of determination and desperation as she approaches the hunched figure. The hacker, obscured by the glow of multiple monitors, remains focused on the screens. The squalid office is littered with energy drink cans and takeout containers. Alara seeks help from a skilled hacker to uncover the truth about the business dealings of Corven Grant targeting his secure vault. In the dimly lit hideout, a group of hackers are consumed by the glow of the monitors. Finally, a series of folders appeared on the screen, all bearing Corven's personal encryption. These weren't just documents, they were the carefully guarded secrets that made him powerful. With a few keystrokes, the hacker breaks through the digital fortress, unlocking a trove of incriminating data. Detailed logs and communications emerge, each line a nail in the coffin of a sinister plot. The hacker's eyes widen in horror. The truth about how Corven masterminded Alara and Julian's torment and other sinister plots for world domination. Bathed in the harsh glare of studio lights, Alara's resolve hardens as she takes her place at the news desk. A palpable tension charges the air as Alara prepares to deliver a career-defining broadcast. Alara begins. I'm here today to reveal the truth about a very powerful man of this city, Mr. Corven Grant. This may surprise you, but he orchestrated my accident. The man who promises to build our city anew tomorrow has been quietly tearing it down. The files that we have acquired show that his charitable foundations are nothing but shell companies. Millions of donated credits funneled back into his own accounts. This reporter has learned that Cornus is attempting to create mind control to replace all human emotions, making everyone a mindless machines for the elites to control. Corven Grant does not invest in the future. He steals it. Files show a trail of lawsuits and legal threats against small inventors who ever stood in his way. The truth is, he didn't just lie to me. He used me to destroy Julian. And he's been lying to every one of you. In his opulent office, Corven Grant watches the broadcast, his disbelief growing with each passing moment. The broadcast went live, a single, devastating stream that would tear down empire of Corven Grant. His empire, once unshakable, now teeters on the brink of collapse. A wave of anger washes over Corven as he realizes the magnitude of Alara's defiance. His eyes dart around the room, desperately seeking a solution to salvage what remains. The weight of his crumbling empire crushes him as the broadcast continues. Unwavering, the city streets transform into a scene of pandemonium as Alara's explosive revelations trigger widespread public unrest. Amid the escalating chaos, the city's foundations tremble, mirroring the uncertainty consuming its inhabitants. A wave of collective hysteria sweeps through the masses, tearing apart the veneer of order that once defined the metropolis. 1,000 angry voices rose as one, a collective roar that promised a riot. Corven finds himself cornered, the flashing lights of police cars painting his penthouse in stark hues of desperation. The panoramic windows reflect the chaos below, a sea of camera flashes and shouting reporters. The cacophony from the street rose, a sound that promised a new world and the end of his own. Trapped in his gilded cage, Corven is surrounded by luxury that now feels like a cruel mockery. The opulence of the penthouse serves only to amplify the depth of his isolation and despair. Ilara paid one last visit to the penthouse of Corven Grant. He was a shadow of the man he was once. "You ruined my life's work, Ilara. The inventions I destroyed. They would have made people arrogant, unstoppable. I did what I had to do." Ilara's voice was a cold, quiet rage. "Your life's work wasn't to create, it was to destroy. You manipulated and betrayed everyone who ever trusted you." With cold finality, Ilara declares, "Your legacy is built on lies, and today it ends." Before his very eyes, Corven Grant's reign ends abruptly as officers moved in. The cold steel of handcuffs signals the downfall of a once untouchable man. He tried to harden his expression, but the shock of his capture was clear in his eyes. Surrounded, Elias is escorted out, the symbol of his invincibility shattered. Corven Grant is taken into custody, his era of impunity drawing to a close. In the sterile lab, Ilara visits Julian, the space thick with unspoken regrets. Her voice cracks with remorse. "Julian, I am so sorry for everything." Silence hangs heavy as Julian remains unresponsive, his gaze unfathomable. Ilara's pleads, "Can you ever forgive me?" In the tense confines of Julian's lab, a profound understanding washes over Julian's face as he looks toward Ilara. He nods, a faint smile touching his lips as he begins to grasp the depth of Ilara's plight. His voice filled with empathy, Julian finally speaks. "I understand, Ilara. You were a victim too." His gaze softens as he acknowledges the truth. "Elias manipulated you, just like he did everyone else." Sunlight bathes the care home as Ilara sits quietly at her sister's bedside. A hopeful smile touches Ilara's lips, a beacon of optimism in the sterile setting. She leans closer, her voice filled with anticipation. "I have news about Julian's research." Ilara's voice rises with hope, promising, "There is hope for a cure, love." Sunlight filters through the leaves, casting a gentle glow upon Ilara as she walks through the park, a place of quiet contemplation. She pauses, her face bathed in light, as a profound sense of peace washes over her, marking a turning point in her journey. The park around her seems to whisper secrets of renewal and hope, as she finds solace in the simple beauty of nature. Her steps become more purposeful, each stride filled with newfound resolve, as she embraces the future with open arms. In this moment of clarity, Ilara's heart swells with purpose, as she understands that the greatest adventures often begin with the quietest steps. A ghost of a smile flickers across Ilara's face as memories of Julian flood back, but the smile vanishes, replaced by a quiet resolve as Ilara prepares to move on. As dawn breaks over the city skyline, Ilara stands on the balcony, a silhouette against the awakening world. The city awakens, its lights gradually fading as the sun paints the sky with hues of hope and renewal. Ilara reflects on the trials she has endured, her gaze hardening with newfound resolve. She is a changed woman, forever marked but determined to build a better future. Thank you for watching. If you liked this story, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. After the ending, tell us, was Elias the only villain here, or was Julian's secret just as bad?